Oh my God. Well, let me go ahead and get started. I can jump on in.
Hi, my name is Tyra Watkins, and I would like to welcome you to AOC's Artist Check-In, sponsored by Black Theater Group LLC and National Black Arts Forward. We are actively using our connections and talent to highlight us. AOC's Artist Check-In gives fellow Black artists an opportunity today and every day to talk about their ideas, projects, and talents, because we are history in the making. This week's conversation is centered around arts and culture. We have talented artists, educators, and my dear friends Marquise TA and Kerri Garrett joining us. Get ready to learn about these amazing individuals as we throw it over to our host, Daryl Grant.
All right. Thank you, Tyra. Thank you so much, friend, and welcome to another episode of AOC Artist Check-In. I am your boy, Daryl Grant, and I'm so super excited to be here with you in 2021. We all made it. And it's not too late for me to say Happy New Year, right? Because I'm going to say it anyway. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us tonight. As Tyra said, we have partnered with NBA, National Black Arts Forward, to bring you these virtual conversations. And it's a revamped version of our AOC Artist Check-In. And as I said before, I'm so very, very excited. Tonight's theme of our conversation is our art and culture. R, like ours, African American, Black people. And I'm so super excited because we have two very talented artists, educators to talk to you tonight. Before I bring in the first one, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Kerri Garrett. Listen, she's a recent graduate of Clark Atlanta University. And when Tyra, our co-producer, sent me a video of her work, I was just enamored at how she combines dance and theater and movement into these film pieces, like these theatrical pieces. And I'm so ready to hear about everything she has going on in this season. She's so super talented. And also she has her own production company called House of Productions. So let's bring in our first guest to say hello, Miss Kerri Garrett.
Hi, wow, what an intro. Thank you.
Hey, it's well worth it, friend, because you are amazing. How are you doing today?
I'm doing incredible, just present and blessed with everything that's going on. How are you doing today?
I am okay. Thank you for asking. I am blessed as well. Look, blessed and highly favored.
Amen.
Right? We're doing this thing together. And I'm sure, Kerri, you already know our second guest, right? Another amazing artist, y'all, that we're bringing in here. Now, this young man is about to graduate, okay, from Clark Atlanta University. Also a performer, dancer, choreographer. Like, I'm just amazed at all the things he's been able to do while he's there. President of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and just continuing to create. Let's say hello to our second guest and artist tonight, Mr. Marquise T.A. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Okay.
That intro was crazy. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you for joining us. Look, I love seeing y'all beautiful faces. Are y'all ready to jump into this amazing conversation about art and culture?
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. But before we bring in, the question about art and culture, I want to see how you're both doing with this time of, COVID-19 and theaters being shut down and, schools and everything going virtual. How has this past year affected your artistry? Anyone of you can go first.
Yeah, honestly, 2020 and the pandemic it's been a roller coaster. Like, definitely a lot of trials and challenges, but still there was a time of rest and a time of shifting. I think for 2020, like when we were going into 2020, a lot of people were asking for 2020 vision, a lot of clarity, but people didn't really understand what it took to get to that level. Like with 2020 vision, that means a lot of illusions have to be lifted. And I think like this within this past year and everything that has been going on with the pandemic, it's allowed me to like really take the time and focus on my artistry. So yeah, it's still a roller coaster that I'm learning how to ride, but I honestly am still thankful for everything that has kind of been going on as well.
Amen. Come on. Now, what about you, Marquise TA?
I would like to say, yeah, I agree 100% with what Kerri is saying about how much 2020 was able to shift us. It shifted the atmosphere for sure. I feel like as somebody that is called to create, called to direct, I feel like 2020 helped with the passion. Like 2020 brought so much passion out of people. You saw 30-year-olds in dance class. Like everybody is like, okay, this is my dream. You know what I'm saying? I have school. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine theater majors 2020 graduating and theaters closed. You know what I'm saying? Like that's going to put a fire under you that a certain situation of you graduating and not in a job won't put under you, you know? So it was the fact we all put in the same boat. Now, like, there's no money, there's no jobs, what y'all gonna do? You know, so it was just really putting everybody on their feet. And I love that. I love vulnerability, and it was most definitely a time of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, let me just say on behalf of the community, we are appreciative for your artistry from both of you, that you continue to create during this time, continue to like develop pieces and develop other artists during this time. Like it's amazing. I know it wasn't easy, but thank you. On behalf of our community, I just want to first say thank you for doing that. Now let's go ahead and jump on into our theme for the night of art and culture. And let's start this time with Marquise TA. Like, what does art and culture mean to you? When someone says art and culture, I mean, it's kind of trendy right now. We see it on a lot of T-shirts and paraphernalia, but what does that mean to you?
Art and culture, to me, technically, is where it goes to my TA of Marquise TA, tribal alleviation, using art to heal the community. So I would say arts and culture for me is like bridging that gap of progression and tradition. I know Louis Vuitton uses that as their mission statement, but it's like beautiful for arts and culture is that connection from culture, you know, of our history of Isis and Osiris, of Egypt stories, of Armenian stories, of like all of that culture, and we create art and we use dance. That dance is forever growing, art is forever changing, and we use that to make arts and culture, tradition and progression. Yes, arts and culture to me.
Yeah. Kerri, and for you?
And honestly, I completely agree with that statement. Like arts and culture, especially within the Black community, it lends itself so much to how we define ourselves within our traditions, but also the impact that we make on society as well. Like the societies that we're a part of today, it would be nothing without Black art, and it would be nothing without Black culture. Black art moves the culture and it defines the culture, and we are it.
Come on, we are it. Y'all are it. Okay, look, we are it. I love that. But I mean, speaking of arts and culture, I mean, I kind of touched on a little bit in the intro. I'm going to give you both an opportunity to talk a little bit about your work, talking about art and culture. Now, I know, Kerri, you last year you actually received a grant, right? The Fulton County Virtual Arts Initiative grant.
Yes.
And come on now, and you produced the actual piece that Miss Tyra sent me, and I was blown away. Long Shot Atlanta. Please tell me about this project.
Okay, so Long Shot Atlanta is my baby. So Long Shot Atlanta is a 5-part dance visual series. Anyone who hasn't heard about it, you can access it via YouTube. Just type in Long Shot Atlanta, and each of the 5 visuals will come out. So I executive produced the entire project. I choreographed the entire project. I directed it, as well as styled all of the visuals as well. So that is my baby. And honestly, like I said, 2020 and the pandemic kind of put me in the position to be able to put out that type of work. Before 2020, I was more so focused and more so a part of other people's visions. And I had the ideas, but I wasn't really focused on my own work. But because we had that time to just sit and relax, and I couldn't really audition for this or be a part of that, I had to like see what was around me and see what I already had that I could create. And it was honestly just receiving that grant from Fulton County was the craziest blessing, because the day before I received the grant, I actually was going through contract negotiations on a project, and I had to leave that project. But the next day I received the grant, and it was like everything aligned, and what was really meant for me came into the place. And yeah, like just to be able, I was able to Marquise was one of my core dancers in the project. So the project was really about bringing and uniting the dance community and Atlanta's underground music scene. So it was all about unity and community, and to be able to create a project like that during a pandemic when we've been so separated and apart, and to create that community was a blessing, as well as having that type of opportunity for artists, because it was a paid gig. So just to be able to have great opportunities for artists too, which are rare to find as well, it was honestly a dream come true. Because again, like I had never created or even pushed out a work that was my own name, my own vision, my own everything until Long Shot Atlanta. So if you guys have the chance to check out all the visuals, definitely do so. They're also a part of Core Dance's Real Art Series. So if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, you can visit Decatur Square, and they're being projected outside of Core Dance Studios every weekend, starting at 7 p.m. So it's up until the end of Black History Month. So go ahead.
Look, I gotta clap. That is too good for snaps, okay? I have to clap for you, Ms. K. That is amazing, because I love something that stood out. You were speaking a word there. I don't know if you know, but you were all over. You were speaking a word to all of us, that you had spent so much time working on other people's projects, their vision. Yeah. And you took this time to hone in on your vision, what you had been given. And I love that. That is amazing. Yeah. And not only did you bring that to fruition, you were able to pay artists, for their talent. I love that. Come on. You speaking my language. I saw our boy Marquise, TA, is down there. He was giving you the snaps and supporting you, which I love. But sir, you also have been creating during this time. I've been seeing your remake videos and everything on Instagram. Now, tell me more about this lyrical dance company that you founded and you started, Evolution Dance Theater. Come on now. Tell me about that.
Ooh.
See, I did my homework.
Homework, we love it. We see. I wasn't expecting that bad. So basically, short, like this is a very short, brief, purpose of why I did Evolution Dance Theater. When I was younger in high school, I really wanted to dance. Like dance has always been like a very strong passion of mine. However, growing up in Detroit isn't very accepting of male dancers. Usually they're just, but even then it comes from like an opportunity of them like being in an area where they see dancers, and now you have older people vouching for them to their families. But families really don't care for male dancers. They don't care for doing ballet, contemporary, and that's all I wanted to do, But I always begged my mom. I said, Mom, I'll do a hip hop dance team, anything, help me just to be dancing, right? So I did. So mom basically put me in theater. So theater was my escape to dance, because we had to do plays, and there was times where we had to have choreographers come in and they teach plays. They teach dances for the plays, right? So throughout all of those plays, I was always put as dance captain. And I was okay, are y'all telling me to be a dancer? You know what I'm saying? Clearly this is aligning. I'm supposed to be dancing. But again, of course, it's just a respect for my family that I didn't okay, I'm gonna dance anyway. You know what I'm saying? I ain't sneaking out. My family didn't play that. I really did not play sneaking out. They didn't play none of that. So it wasn't happening where I was gonna be on the street sleeping somewhere. So when I got to Atlanta, I'm like, okay, this is my time. This is time for me. So off rip, I was looking up the other dance companies on campus, and it was a praise dance team It was a basketball dance team, and it was a marching band dance team. And all of those were for all women, basically. Even the praise dance team was accepting, so I did praise dance. I love me a liturgical dance, but of course, there's limits to liturgical dance. And yeah, so sophomore year, all of the hip hop dance team, the rest 2 championship dance team incorporated, but they were suspended. So I was like, okay, I really want to dance though. Like, where can I dance? So basically, one of the advisors in our student activity program was like, Marquise, you might, start a little dance program. Find out the meaning of it. I was like, she was like, what do you love to do? I was like, I love, theater. I love dancing. Let's create a dance theater organization. So I created this dance theater organization, Evolution Dance Theater, and it's been amazing. Evolution Dance Theater, these girls have had so much faith in me, and these are girls they all have had ballet training. They've all had contemporary training. I'm coming in, I'm coming new to the dance scene, and they're all very accepting of me. They're all like, Marquise, we love your ideas. I was able to put on about 4 dance concerts through Evolution Dance Theater in our Clark Auditorium. Yes, produced, paid for by me, styled by me, music edited by me, the promotion edited by me. And that's also something beautiful about dancers that people don't really understand, that a dancer, a dancer will be the editor, a dancer will be the videographer, if need be, the stylist, they'll be the trainer. They're gonna come clean y'all. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically what I was doing throughout my relation before coronavirus happened. Yeah, so I really love the organization, Evolution Dance Theater. It's not over, but it's like I'm also in a place now from training and going and doing other projects that Evolution Dance Theater, of course, I honestly low-key should have waited to do it because I was so, excited and ready to dance. It happened regardless. But I was able to learn so much from doing Evolution Dance Theater that, patience is a virtue, honestly. And what's meant to happen to you will happen to you, for real. The way dance has been coming into my life, though, is dance clearly meant, you know what I'm saying? But it's also, like Kerri was saying, about coming to yourself. I had to stop taking care of my dancers, and I had to say, okay, Marquise, you need to go in. You need to pour all this money that you about to pour into these dancers into yourself, But of course, at that time, I was very much so into just getting out my art. Whenever I feel something, I feel a baby forming of art, it has to be out. It has to be out there, whatever way, honestly. But yeah, I was very thankful for the experience that I had with dancing. Great opportunity, great respectful ensemble members, dancers. Yeah, it was a great experience for sure.
I would like to touch on a point real quick, if that's cool. But just when you were saying, Marquise, about if you felt like you started Evolution maybe a little bit too soon. And I don't know, just something I've definitely learned recently. It's because I'm the same way. I overthink, and I always want to do it right the first time, so I don't have to go back. But I just read that it's about just doing it as opposed to just trying to perfect it, because it's all about the journey. Even with creating Long Shot, I always thought I had to get to a certain place with my training, or I needed to be at a certain place in my career before I could even have the audacity or the goal to put out something that was that big. Because I'm a late bloomer when it comes to dance too. But I know that also comes with us, and just being most dancers have been dancing since they were 3 years old, and when you're kind of late to the game, you always feel like you got to play catch up. But I know those are some of the things that I've been working on, just still some artist insecurities as well.
Right. And Kerri, that's a good point, because when you're an artist and you're used to working under the umbrella of a theater company or a school, or anything like that, it can be difficult for you to branch off on your own. But Marquise, you said something about it's my baby. And babies are in the oven for 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not in there for 5-6 years. So sometimes when you're pregnant with something, when you push it out, that's the time you were supposed to push it out. Okay.
Once the baby started forming, you can't tell the baby to go back a couple weeks. No, she's still growing.
You can't do it. And you're about to graduate, so that's a seed that you started and you planted already that could grow into a number of things. You know, it can grow beyond the campus, and you can do work, continue to do that work beyond the campus. So I think that's amazing. Both of you have actually done things that not only solidify you as an artist, but it shows that. That's why I put in your intro, educators. When you are bringing up those behind you, leaders are developing other people. See, you cannot be a leader if no one's following you. And people are already started. I'm amazed by your work because people are already on board with your artistry. And that's amazing. Y'all are awesome leaders. So look, kudos to that. So, kudos for that. So are there any projects though, like productions that are around right now that you think really speak to African American culture, whether it be national or in Atlanta?
I'll go first. I'm gonna say Lyric London, Lyrik London in regular way. Lyric London just produced a video, Black Boy Magic. That video, okay, it's really tackling the social norms of femininity and masculinity. So check that out. That's a great visual. Also, Believe 3, he goes by Devon Ballinger, Snooki. He creates visuals, and these are I mean, for me, like when I watch these visuals, I just get so much courage and so much faith because it's like these are people from the hood, with no money, you know, coming up, and they have great quality videos, with messages, consistent great musicality in their work too. Those are my things that I would say right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like, I don't know, the Atlanta's arts community is just so inspiring. That really is what has nurtured me and grown me into the artist that I am today, I would have to say, because like when I first got here, I started interning at an arts gallery, and that's kind of how I got exposed to everything and everyone and have been able to meet all of these creatives. So there's always just music that's dropping from people that I just love and I'm inspired by, like Flower Child, who was one of our artists that we danced to on the project. He just released a live album with James Tillman, which is just beautiful, and I just flow to it every day. Artists like Marquise said, Lyric London. I'm actually about to work with him. I'm working with him on a visual right now, but his film is just beautiful and how it shifts the culture and brings up the conversation when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, because it's always a hard conversation for Black people to have, but it's still very much necessary because we are a whole segment of the Black community, but still we're not always welcomed. But outside of like what's going on within the Atlanta community, and also Melissa Alexander just dropped a photo series called Around the Way Dreams, which highlights Black women. So that's also within the realm of like photography. So like Atlanta is just it. Like there's the brand. Atlanta influences everything, and we do, like that's just facts. But those are just artists I really want to take the time to highlight real quick. But just other things that move art and culture, like I would say like the classics, like The Wiz, you know, that's just like timeless work that you can watch with anybody of any generation and will always grab something or be inspired by it. I would say like Moonlight is something else that shifted our culture because it was so beautifully shot, but the script was just so entrancing, but I don't think people it brought up the conversation again of like of the LGBT, of the queer community, our community, and just bringing up that conversation that again, you know, is very hard to bring up within the Black community. And then I'd say like just Modern Insecure, the way that Insecure every time an episode dropped, the way that Black Twitter, there was just always a conversation. And I love works that make people talk. I love things that start that conversation, that creates dialogue. Like, yeah, people will have their opinions at the end of the day, but as long as there's a conversation about something and moving something, because that's really what defines culture.
Yeah. Wow. Look, everything y'all just said is amazing because I love what we're doing here. Like, we're not only shining the spotlight on you two amazing artists, y'all are bringing up other artists in Atlanta that are pumping out content and doing quality, you know, things and quality performances. And that's what I love. And I'm kind of redirecting my attention all season and probably for the rest of my life. Yes, for the rest of my life to highlight Black artists and only Black artists, because for so long we have been fighting to be included. And this pandemic has shown me I'm no longer willing to sit at a table or ask or request or beg, sit at a table where you don't really want me there.
Exactly. Not where you can do it yourself.
For what? For who? But the thing with that is that Black people are the majority, okay? First of all, Black people are mixed with Asian, Black people are mixed with Latino, Black people are mixed with everything. And we're the only ethnicity that you could spot and be like, they're Black. That's the first thing they'll say. But they won't know that you have a Chinese grandma. You know what I'm saying? That's for that person's culture, though. You know what I'm saying? So like, we have so much people at our table. We don't have room. We don't even have room. There is no table. But once we realize that diversity is so much more than African American within us, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we just.
Right.
I just think like, and both me and Marquise, I mean, we come from the same department. Like we were like the HB, like Clark, it was a lot, but it taught me so much about my people. Cause like I'm from Ohio. So we have our Black community up there. We're both, me and Marquise are pretty much from like, he's Michigan, I'm Ohio. We're rivals technically, but we're right next to each other. And like, I know Detroit definitely has like a different type of arts community, but Columbus still had a great Black arts community. But still coming down to Atlanta, which was like a mecca of just Black artists, and then the hub that the AUC was in general, just to be able to come into a renaissance and an enlightening on our path while it's such a prime time in our artistry. It has such an impact. Like I know definitely for me, and just learning that, you know, Black people, we don't even have to ask for a seat at the table because we built it. Like without us, there would be none of this. So I can't.
First of all, if you're talking of all the inventions,
my ancestors built, like we own this, but it's also about reminding the community, reminding our people of our worth, because we can go through. This is a whole other conversation, but the ideologies and the remnants of what oppression and slavery and all these adversities have like kind of washed our minds to think. But I think that. That's another thing that 2020 has been that 2020 allowed for us to grow through and coming back to terms with who we are, not only for ourselves, but as a people and as a community as a whole.
Wow, love that. But I mean, that goes right into our next question though. How do y'all feel Black art has played a role in on the national scale, and not just in Atlanta, but how does Black art build other people and other artists on a national level?
I mean, Black art is everything. Like, it's so hard to have even like most of your favorite artists, no matter what culture they're from, it's all Black. It all can be traced back, and I know everybody has that uncle or that dad. I know my dad's like that, but they'll trace everything back to like Black people. A Black man was the first thing to do this, and that's usually like what it is. Like we are the cultural movers, shakers, and trendsetters, and that's why everybody is always so pressed about what we do, and that's why everybody is always trying to usually put us down as opposed to empower, because you know, it's not always easy to look at your culture and to really like, it's not easy to look at your culture and see that majority of the things from your culture isn't even from your culture. If that makes any sense. Like, I could really just like, Black, it's like we are the standard.
Yeah.
We're the standard.
I love that. That's our new podcast. Look. The standard. We the standard.
The standard, literally.
Right there. Wow.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's really like
it's just something I'm so passionate about, and it pushes my work. So like you see, I'm getting up and wild just chatting about it. Like this is my why. Like everybody has a why for what they do. Like my why is my people. And the different groups that I'm in. I'm resilient, and I'm able to create because my people are resilient. I have no excuse not to keep on pushing forward because my ancestors were able to do so I could be in this spot. So the only way I can honor them is by continuing that legacy as well.
I love that. Let's throw the next question to you, Marquise. And kind of Kerri went into that. Why is it important for Black artists and artists of color to continue to create new material and tell our stories?
I mean, if you don't tell your story, who's gonna tell it? You gonna let your neighbor tell your story? Like, honestly, like, I'm not letting my best friend tell my story. Even if my best friend is Black, you have my story. It's not your story. You don't know the nights, but the part of the story is those nights when you were crying. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that part. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand that when you're in that strong Black man when he's in the bathroom actually crying. They don't know that. They gonna say the Black man in the bathroom and he smoked a blunt. Like, no, you don't know that story because you just don't know it. So I feel like that's our thing as artists that we have to be very strong on is, this is my story. I have to say, even when it comes to like Lyric London, right? And I mentioned him having his feminine masculinity social change, right? Me as a person, I have dealt with femininity and masculinity problems that as an artist, I'm still going to create my piece because to me, that's still my story. His story will be his story. It will still automatically be his thing he did. Our thing is that we have to create for ourselves, like your baby, not everybody else's baby, your baby. What is yours to tell? And then as an artist, when you find that out, that's everything. I feel like our stories are needed to be heard. Period.
Kerri,
who's gonna say it?
Yeah, I mean, like Marquise explained it perfectly, and yeah, I mean, just Marquise hit upon everything. Like, no one can tell your story like you because no one has been through what you've been through. We've all been put to certain tests and through certain lessons so that we can be able to share that. And especially like with the different groups that we find ourselves in. Like for me, not only am I a woman, I'm a Black woman. I'm also a dark-skinned Black woman. I'm also a queer dark-skinned Black woman. So this puts me in multiple groups that I'm not only representing, but I'm also creating work for and empowering as well. So not everybody is going to be able to tell my story, but I don't want nobody to tell my story anyways, because nobody can do what I can do. And I think that's also key when it comes to having confidence in your work and realizing that you have your own lane. Like everybody has their own lane because nobody's been through your life. No one has walked in your shoes but you. So you can't compare yourself to anyone. No one can compare to you because no one has been influenced or molded or empowered or supported or even poured into like you have been.
Right. That's so true. And I think also by the two of you, me, our co-producers, NBAF, everyone continuously creating new works, this young Black artist, young Black boy, young Black girl who, is having these thoughts of I'm different, wait a minute, questioning their own identity, questioning their own sexuality, when they see us to continuously creating, that empowers them and gives them that confidence, like, wait a minute, let me tell my story. Let me create my choreography. Let me write my play. Let me write out the lyrics to my song. And that's why I love uplifting Black artists. I think Kerri brought up The Wiz earlier.
Yeah.
Listen, when I saw that, it opened up, my family regretted they showed me that movie. Because I was singing and dancing and turning and twirling around the whole house. I was all in the driveway, doing the scarecrow off the pole.
A little Emerald City.
I was doing it all. It opened my eyes to a world that I didn't think was for me. And I think we have so many platforms now where we're able to get our work out and show these young people who have mastered social media and the internet, by the way, like we can show them that, look, you can do this too. There's nothing, we're extraordinary because of our gifting, but there are other people who God blessed with that gifting as well. So I love inspiring them to tell their stories and get their pieces out there.
Yeah, and just to hit on your thing on progression as well, like every generation has something to say. And every generation before wasn't perfect. So each generation can teach the one before just how the past generation taught us as well, who raised us. And I think that's what's also important about creating work, like we talking about with The Wiz. It transcends time, so it transcends generations as well, and is able to connect us in ways that we're not always able to relate within conversation, but we're able to relate within artistry.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and that kind of leads into the next point too. When you are creating, because I know we talked about movement, dance, combining theater and film production into all of your pieces. Where do y'all draw your inspiration from for those that are listening that are trying to be inspired to create a new piece?
I do so much research. I'm not gonna lie, because I have so many interests. Like when it comes to fashion, I'm always so I'll just hit on different things. I'll start with dance first. So I was trained. My dance teacher was a part of the original Dance Theater of Harlem company, so I was already trained by a yes, China White. Have to drop that name. So I was blessed to just be able to be nurtured by historical Black arts, and just being able to be taught the history of Dance Theater of Harlem. And the reason why Arthur Mitchell started the company was a direct response to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. And there was no representation at all within the ballet world for Black people. So Arthur Mitchell was just like, I'm going to be that person. Then he established DTH. So this is what I was already being raised and trained in. So that influences me. Like I'm very a big historical person when it comes to like I said, The Wiz, and just studying like Lion King and like the greats. Like when it comes to, of course, Alvin Ailey, but also Pearl Primus and Catherine Dunham. I'm a very, very deep researcher, and I really especially love the work of Pearl Primus and Catherine Dunham, because not only were they dance artists, but they were also anthropologists as well, where they went into the communities. Like Catherine Dunham spent 2 years studying and researching historical dance forms in the West Indies, so she could come back to the United States, pair with her ballet training, and create a Dunham technique. And I'm just like, it's those type of people that kind of fuel me and fuel my research. As far as dance, when it comes to theatrical space, it's like the same thing. August Wilson, and learning about the Chitlin circuit and the different ways that we had to push through as Black people when it came to blackface. And that was our original way that we had to perform, but being able to adapt that and grow and to actually find our voice when it comes to that art form. So that pushed me as well.
Okay.
When it comes to like film and directing, really like a lot of the recent people that I love researching it are like Gina Prince, who directed Love and Basketball, and then as well as Lacey Duke, who's like a new music. She's not new director, but she's a Black woman. She does a lot of music video work. I love her work. As well as, I mean, I can name drop for a long time because I research and I do my work, and I do my work. And then as far as like acting and modeling and fashion, it's the same thing when it comes to those worlds. So I always make sure that I know not only for myself and my history, but my art as well, the past, like who I'm coming from. I'm studying those people, like a person that I'm really, really, really getting into. I've already been into her because it's Debbie Allen, but like she's like a person who's been at these intersections and has been able to mold these worlds of dance and film and directing.
Her crossover effect.
Yeah, crossover is insane. And it's like, it's kind of overwhelming at times when you know you have all these gifts and you've been blessed with all these gifts. A lot of people want to tell you that you need to focus on this one thing or you have to do this one thing. And I've done that before, and I understand why, so you can be able to cultivate your niche and be able to give each art the focus that it needs. But we've all been given these gifts for a reason, and I know I have as well. So a lot of the work that I'm doing now and still learning to do, it's a growing trial and error experience, but it's about bringing all these worlds together and finding the way that they can translate into the audience.
Wow. That's beautiful. What about you, Marquise? What do you draw your inspiration?
Respect to my beautiful ancestors, Alvin Ailey. We love them. We love him. Shout out to Martha Graham, Sean Bankhead, A. Howdy Wood, Kira Harper. I saw because I have my little list on my phone. I got my little research my little research notes. I should have pulled that up. But
No, you hit the good ones. That was the big ones right there.
you
Yeah.
know, it's more though. Like the T is that it's so much more. And the thing is, like when Kerri was talking about knowing who came before you, is because you aren't the first person with the idea. Like you, like I was talking about this on my Instagram, but like y'all don't think that in 1960s, well 1930s, correct me, they were in clubs with people around with heels on, doing splits in suits. You telling me they ain't know how to move their shoulders a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, we ain't that. But when you remove yourself, you exclude our ancestors. We have new things being created, but they're created just out of pure ignorance. Ignorance meaning just simply not knowing. They just simply don't know that. I found out that I know a lot of dancers that genuinely don't know what Alvin Ailey has to go through to become Alvin Ailey, or Debbie Allen having to deal with colorism. So they don't understand when they say colorist things about Alvin. I mean, Debbie Allen is like, do you really know her story? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to understand because history repeats itself, even when it comes to 2020 and 1918, how the Spanish flu came about, and then 1923's Harlem Renaissance started. You know what I'm saying? History repeats itself, so you got to be very aware of that. It's always good to research, which is why it's always good to just give respect to even the artists like Kerri that are around with you now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Respect everybody because you never know where they're going to go. And when you hear their story on television, you should have listened to it when I was with her in rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? So it's respect. I feel like the community has to be strong on respect and understanding that we are innovative, right, but it's a limit to the innovation. There's only so many moves your body can truly do. But even when it comes into like ballet though, like ballet is French, okay? If you know ballet is French. Most people in Africa speak French, right? African dance is a thing, right? You have colonizers that come, they create ballet. But because we don't know our history, we are as dancers be like, I have to know ballet. So go take African class because that's where they got ballet from, low key. They just wanted to turn into something that they own to become something. But we ain't gonna get into that. I want to hurt my honestly, the inspiration really comes from me from being Detroit, having that Detroit in me. A lot of plays about Detroit, and found out that Detroit, like, it used to be that place where everybody, if you were an artist, you had to have been in Detroit at least once if you really were an artist. Michael Jackson, Aaliyah. I'm not about to do that Motown revenue, but back when 1960s were going on, white people, colonizers, used to build highways in the middle of like those areas.
Yeah.
They used to build highways there, and like people have to move out. So it's just like that fire in me, though, is like people have truly, like, they couldn't do nothing about it. They couldn't do anything, and I don't know people understand how far slavery, it really wasn't that long ago. So if you tell a slave that he's free, then you make him go live in the ghetto to work in your corporation that he honestly built up from working for free. Now you're going to pay him a little bit of money to buy a house that goes back probably into your company. It's just like that fire, that burning passion of people, and they play black people like they're crazy. It's just like you gave them education, you freed them and put them into a ghetto after they built your company up from the ground up, and then when they created something that was happy for themselves, you want to destroy it. Right. But then you low key want to go and just put that in, like with these music companies, and they get, no, I'm not going to drop no names, so I don't want nobody saying I was being shady, but mainstream artists, and they get mainstream artists because they get to manipulate them differently. Right. They get to manipulate, and as much as art and culture shifts our community, they like to get people that they can manipulate to create a certain type of stereotype for the community. Right. But of course, 2020 has awakened that, and a lot of black artists are getting like, okay, I'm black now. And I love it. I appreciate it. But that's inspiration for me because we have to be the leaders for our community. We can't expect to join somebody's table and them to, we have to be able to go within ourselves as a Black community for real,
Yeah.
before we're able to truly understand.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it. You didn't go down the wrong road. You hit all the things you were supposed to hit, because I think out of all of that displacement, all of that continuous removal of us and
That
our
is my inspiration.
Yeah, you get the art, you get the music, the dance, the culture that the world loves. Okay, the world loves our culture, and then guess what? Out of all of that, you get me, you get Kerri, you get you. You get all of these amazing artists that are standing up now and doing and creating these amazing pieces. So as we wind down to like our last 5 minutes, tell everybody, I mean, do you have anything coming up, a current project where we as a community can support you?
Yeah, so some work that I have coming up. So House of Productions, again, it's a production company and an artist collective that I do run and own. We'll be dropping a short film coming up either at the end of February or the beginning of March. I got to set a date, but it's called Dom and India's New House. It's just like a fun short film, kind of in the spirit of like Pineapple Express meets The Office meets Atlanta type of feel. So yeah. A fun comedy, but Black. And then like currently what a project that I am studying and researching for right now is a photo series as well as a dance film it's still creating, so it's still in the womb, but I just received a grant for it from Idea Capital, and it's called The Shadows Whispered Secrets. And it's a collaborative work between me and Kendall Besant. And we are it's about family, like generational traumas that were passed down between the Black family because of slavery and dealing with adversities and oppression, but also healing that through shadow work and celebrating our generational strengths that were passed down as well. Because, there weren't our sadness and our struggle wasn't the only thing that was passed down from our ancestors. There's also bravery. There's also creativity and ingenuity and innovation that have been gifted to us. So it's just dealing with those different things and discussing that. So those are things that I'm working on, but you can be on the lookout for that.
Yes, and we'll be sure to put them in the chat so people can find it. Marquise, what do you have coming up where as a community we can get behind you?
Actually, I have a performance this Sunday, the 7th, February 7th. It's a little dance industry kickback, a little vibe going on. You can check my Instagram out for that information. Right. I'm doing like a little Detroit dance piece. It's nice, really nice, and nice dances in there. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing like Marquise projects right now. I'm really chilling. I'm chilling on working with other people, directing. That's a lot of energy. Directing is a lot of energy. You got to be in the right headspace to do that. So I'm just focusing on my training, my musicality as a dancer within myself. But there'll be some more projects for sure coming out this summer. For sure.
Because we need them. We want them. Yeah. We want to see more of your work. Okay, and keep it going, Marquise. How can they find you on social media to look you up and follow us?
You can look me up, Marquise, Marquise, space T.A. That's on Instagram. Good job, yes, bookmark. Instagram. I also have a YouTube and all my work for like the past couple of years. I have live performances on there. I have some dance concepts. I have me just talking. Y'all can just get to know me on my Instagram, my YouTube. Follow me, I follow you back. You gotta have good vibes, get into my page, okay? We lift each other up on my Instagram.
Okay, come on now. We'll be sure to follow you. Kerri, how about you, ma'am?
You all can follow me on Instagram at Kerri Me Away. It's Kerri, Kerri, me away with 2 Y's. So a lot of my work I post is on Instagram. I also have a website that I usually update, and it's kerrigarrett.com. So it's Kerri and then GARRETT as well as House of Productions. Please keep up on our work. If you're interested in working with us, we're always looking for people to be a part of our collective as well. Our Instagram is House of Productions. It's spelled just as it sounds. And then our website is houseofproductions.art as well. So you can tune into that.
Wow.
I got one more plug.
Go.
Follow at Ashe Atlanta. That is my new holistic healing company. Check her out. Got some essential oils, some art therapy, some spa treatments. That's for y'all, for our community, for my people.
Come on, self-care.
Okay. Wow. Well, I mean, look, we could do this for hours and hours.
We really could.
Honestly, though.
Look, for joining me. Like, I appreciate, our co-producer Tyra for sending me your information.
Thanks,
because
Tyra.
you're all beautiful people that I will make sure I do everything in my power to support and pray for you, because I believe in covering all of us in prayer. But I just want to thank you for joining us today for our art and culture conversation and with NBAF. And y'all continue to create. Please continue to create. Continue to pour into those young people that you're pouring into. And Marquise, I want to see that dance company outside of Clark, Atlanta. Okay, I want to see it. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me tonight. All right.
Thank you. It's been a joy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Well, that has been it, everybody. My goodness, we had such a good time with our artists tonight, with Miss Kerri, Garrett, and Mr. Marquise TA. And remember that TA stands for Tribal Alleviation. Y'all be sure you follow them on Instagram, YouTube, all of the handles that they put out there. And be sure that you follow us online with Artists of Color ATL, Facebook, Instagram, to stay up to date on what we're doing and what we're bringing to you to highlight and spotlight African-American and Black artists in Atlanta. And make sure you tune in next week for our next conversation when we're talking about our stories, the importance of getting our stories out there. I have been your boy, Daryl Grant, with the Black Theater Group. And this has been another AOC Artist Check-In. Until next week, thank y'all. Love you. Good night.
Hi, my name is Robbie Miles, and on behalf of the Black Theater Group, we would like to thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Art is such an integral part of the African American culture, and by supporting Black artists, you're supporting Black art and Black culture. So thank you so much for doing that. A special thanks to NBAF for sponsoring this event, and a special shout out to all of our guest artists from the past, present, and future for having these conversations with us. Be sure you tune in next week for our theme, Our Stories, where we will be interviewing the 2020 Atlanta Regional August Wilson Monologue Competition winners. It's a conversation you don't want to miss out on. So be sure to tune in next week. And thanks again, BTG out.